Welcome to Beer, Bros, and BS. I'm your host, Dave, the Big Librarian. Tonight I'm joined with...
JJ, the Metal Chef.
Tony. Isa.
And Dan.
So, we have tonight a new kind of venue for the show, a new format. We're doing hodgepodge. We have a smorgasbord of different topics we're going to go over. Not a themed episode, but one thing that will remain constant through all of this is our beer. Tonight we have four here. I brought Rogue Brewery, Rogue Ales, Voodoo Donut Lemon Chiffon Cruller Ale. What'd you bring?
Okay. And I brought the Stone Old Guardian 2015 Barley Wine.
Nice. I've got Prairie Artisan Ales Funky Gold Amarillo.
And I brought the Great Divide Espresso Oak Aged Yeti.
The one I brought was infected, so we wound up drain pouring it. But it was a Miami Brewing Company pumpkin one that I can't remember the name of.
How'd you go part of this beer, Dan?
It was actually yours, and you left it at my house, so I just brought it.
Dan move. That's a Dan move there. Well,
We need the Prices Right theme song.
Yeah.
maybe we can do that post-production.
I don't know if it's in the budget.
So tonight we have, like I said, got a couple of subjects we want to bring up. Personally, for me, I wanted to bring up the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. The initial figures came out today, and it blew past everything they thought, the revenue that would bring up. They said 4.4 million pay-per-view telecasts.
Jesus.
It was the first time they ever the telecast with HBO and Showtime at the same time. That's almost double the previous highest pay-per-view event ever, which was Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya from 2007. That was 2.48 million. This was 4.4 million. Gesundheit, Isa. Actually, before we get into it, let's talk about our first beer.
Yeah. So first we're going to do the Funky Gold Amarillo, which is a dry hopped sour ale. Again, from Prairie Artisan Ales from Oklahoma. And it is 7.5% alcohol by volume.
What do you think of that, Isa?
Yeah, that was my... If you heard that noise, that was me putting a little bitter face. That was really, really bad for me. It was very sour.
So a little twitch there.
Yeah, a little twitch.
The sour twitch.
Yeah, it was really...
What
that's
about you,
not
Dan?
my kind of beer.
You know what? I don't know. I kind of dig it. It's nice. It's actually pretty mild, refreshing. I enjoy
For
it.
me, I can taste the grapefruit in it. Citrus.
Yeah, very. I was going to say very citrusy, like very grapefruit, almost like drinking grapefruit juice.
Yeah, very much like maybe carbonated grapefruit juice.
Actually,
But not as sweet. Not
yeah,
as sweet as
I'm going to go with a throwback taste reference here. I'm going to go with Five Alive, the juice from back in the day. It was a blue box with orange and green letters.
You are dating yourself, sir.
Yeah, that's very old. This is from the 80s. So it reminds me of that, but as Dave said, carbonated. Very good. I like
A nice, like, delicate hop character, too.
It's got a little dry middle taste there. And then
Yeah, it's got a little dryness to it. Very good.
Yeah, so back to what I was saying. They had, not to say anything about each boxer, they both have their downfalls. But the fact that it made so much money,
how much money you haven't said?
$400 million in revenue. Over 400.
Wow.
Let alone just the tickets from the event that people bought there generated $71 million.
Yeah.
The last Super Bowl with the Patriots and Seahawks, at the gate, including everything they made, $60 million.
Jesus Christ.
They made $11 more million with fewer seats in MGM Grand, Las Vegas, than compared to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
70,000 people.
That's how much disposable income's out there.
Well, plus, I don't think there was one non-celebrity in the crowd.
Yeah, my friend was in Vegas at the time, and he tried to get to the fight, and they were charging $150 a person to watch it at the casino.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That is, the closed circuit things. It was a big fight to put Mayweather. He's one fight away from tying Rocky Marciano's 49-0. He's fought less time than Julio Cesar Chavez, who had 70-something and 0, but fought another 10, 12 years more and didn't fight the same caliber of people. Which means one of the few times you see a unification title. And for those of you who don't know, it'd be imagine if somebody in the UFC won a title in UFC and then went to fight the same weight class in Bellator and won the title there, and then went to Japan and won the title there, and went and fight and won 4 or 5 titles in that weight class and defended it against anybody who came up for that long and never lost. And as per the contract, they actually made it was drawn up that no matter what would happen, however much money was made, they were going to split it 60-40 with Mayweather taking the larger share, probably because he was one of the promoters. So imagine a fighter in the UFC like Dana White being in charge of the fight that night and being the undefeated champion. I mean, it would just blow up. And people didn't agree with how the fight was. And a lot of times that's because they don't understand what boxing is. You're not going to go there and just punch each other till the last person falls down. That's not boxing. That's brawling and...
Yeah, I think even if there was a knockout that was fantastic, then people would still complain that they didn't get their money's worth because they wanted to go all 12 rounds.
They just wanted to come out just swinging back and forth, taking hits like you would see.
Mayweather has never fought like that before. These people that are complaining about it have probably never seen one of his fights because that's not his style at all.
Yeah, it still wasn't that great of a fight, so in my opinion.
And to think about how much money that was, where it went, cable companies and satellite providers received 30 to 40% of the gross pay-per-view money, which was $400 million. A smaller cut, which was 7.5%, was divided evenly between HBO and Showtime because they co-produced the event. The rest went to Mayweather. And
I have an interesting fact. I wonder how much, or assumption, I wonder how much money was lost just on people that bootlegged the pay-per-view. I mean, you throw a number out there, what do you think?
I have no idea. You mean watching it online and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there were streams.
I know I saw the last couple minutes of it, illegally, but...
Yeah, I'm sure I would say there's probably about a 20%.
Way to go, Issa. You just
overall
confessed to a crime. And call you off now.
And the other thing was that the money that they made, the $400 million in revenue from the fight, was previously the highest revenue they made was $150 million, and that was for Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez back in 2013, and he was the last guy that people really thought could take out Mayweather because he was younger than him and stronger. But
I'd like to see that fight again now.
I doubt that's going to happen. Mayweather has one fight left on his contract with Showtime, and which will then make him 49-0 if he wins. So he's going to fight one more fight, and then...
You think they're going to put him in there with just some scrub so that he gets that guaranteed?
Well, they're still looking. They don't know who would draw a fight because you're not going to fight just a scrub at that point when you're the unified champion.
Yeah, I think for all the money that this last fight made, it's not going to happen again, right? That was the bit, the
and
last
came out, I think they said that
draw in boxing, I think.
That they had $200 million was for Mayweather made $200 million. Early estimates he was going to make 140 to 160, but it came out him making $200 million. Also because he, like I said, he's the promoter, one of the promoters of the fight, setting up, doing everything. So, what about you, JJ?
The thing I wanted to talk about was actually big shock here, video game related. So I went with another announcement of yet another delayed game. It's Ubisoft. Shortly after, they just announced the new Assassin's Creed game, which is the most modern set Assassin's Creed. I don't know if you guys caught the new trailer for it.
I heard about it.
Yeah. So the technology's more advanced and whatnot.
So where does it take place?
That one is going to be in London.
I thought it was England, just in general.
Yeah, I think overall maybe it is. So
London is in England.
Well, not just specifically one city.
Right. So, but the big announcement that they bombshelled everyone today was The Division, which everyone thought by this point was going to be their big fall release this year. But because yet another Assassin's Creed game coming out this year to add to the one that they already released this year, which was the 2D one, they're knocking it back to spring 2016. So that's a 2-year delay on The Division.
Could you tell us what the Division is?
Yeah, The Division is a multiplayer-based universe. It takes place in New York City after a big bioweapon plague wipes out most of humanity, and so there's an unforeseen threat of monsters or mutated creatures, I guess, run around. They haven't really shown much of that. But it's squad-based, so very much like Rainbow Six, if you're familiar with those kind of squad games. And that's basically the purpose. There's going to be multiple squads run around in this live world, and it looks fantastic visually and everything. So it's disappointing yet another game gets pushed back to 2016 just because there's so much. But my thing that I was going to ask you guys about, do you feel that they should kind of wait at E3 to show some of these games? Because it seems like every year they're showing games earlier and earlier, and they're not ready. And so, therefore, you have 2 or 3 years, like Metal Gear 5. Mm-hmm. It seems like we've been seeing footage for that for a decade. It's like a Tool album. You know, it's never going to come out. So, which eventually that is. So,
I'm just not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, right. So, I don't know if you guys are on the boat with me as far as that maybe they should hold their cards for a little while. So when it gets to the year of the release, and then they can be like, boom, here you go, get hyped. It's coming now, definitely. So.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of throwball. It's kind of like, teasing people into something that they're not going to be able to play for like 2 years. But I think they do it for a reason. It's sell a system. They're trying to sell the system when it first came out. And they're trying to guarantee things, and it's kind of like a bait and switch, but, it's kind of messed up. But I'm glad that Ubisoft is kind of holding off on it, because, look at EA. They've messed up on a couple games, and I hope they do right by Battlefront.
Yeah, they already said they're going to.
So, I don't want them to rush that game, just because, Star Wars movies coming out in December, and, November's coming around.
So.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, yeah. So, I was going to discuss something that I'm really interested in, which is, finally, after about 18 years, Faith No More's new album is going to be coming out next week. And those who don't know, you might have heard a song called Epic on the radio back in the day. They don't really sound anything like that, but hey, whatever, it was a hit. They'll take it. Yeah, it's their first release since 1997. It's an album called Sol Invictus, which translates from Latin for Unconquered Sun. Basically, I'm really looking forward to it because it's one of my favorite bands ever. And, I mean, they're just one of the most influential rock bands that exist, in my opinion. Put them up there with, Tool and stuff like that as one of those bands that a lot of people try to copy and can never really pull off. And, I'm looking forward to hearing their new stuff after, almost 2 decades.
Yep, very excited about that one.
Yeah, man.
Actually, their last album was Album of the Year.
That was the name of it. And, you know what? It should have been the real album of the year because it was freaking awesome. They don't have a bad album. I mean, they really don't.
Yeah, I love Faith No More. I'm super excited for the album.
Yeah.
So happy they're back.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I'm actually really excited because Tony and I, we're going to do a special sort of trip to go see them play a show. They did a reunion tour, about 4 years ago or something, and they never came anywhere near Florida, and we were all bummed about that. So we said, you know what, screw it. We're just going to make a trip out of it. Why not? And so, yeah, we're going up in the beginning of August to Philly to go catch one of the shows, and, hopefully it'll be a good time. I don't see how it wouldn't be.
It's going to be a great time. Plus, Refused is opening.
Oh, Refused is back. They have a new album coming out.
They are not effing dead. Yeah.
Before we get to Issa, we're actually now on our second beer, which I brought. It's from Rogue Ales. It's Voodoo Donut Lemon Chiffon Cruller Ale. For those of you who don't know, Rogue Ales they have a collaboration series with Voodoo Donuts. Did you go there, Tony?
Yeah, from Portland, Oregon.
Portland, yeah. And so all their beers are based off of the donuts that Voodoo Donuts makes. This one, what do you guys taste? They call it a donut ale.
Is that an actual style, really?
I don't think so. It's just more like a fruit or vegetable beer. You can taste it in here. Strong on lemon.
Oof. Wow.
I could see a lemon cooler. This is 6.9%.
You can actually kind of taste that doughiness.
Yeah, they use some of the same ingredients that they make the donuts with, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I kind of like this one. Like, I think this is probably my favorite of the Voodoo Donut series.
I would have to agree with you on that.
Because the first one was like a maple bacon donut ale, which kind of missed the mark.
The one after that was pretty good, the peanut butter banana, the Elvis one.
For me, I thought that one was a little weak in the sense it was watered down. They would have had like a higher concentration of the flavor.
Yeah, that one it was like very artificial flavor tasting.
Okay.
And probably this has artificial flavor too, but they did a better job with it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not a huge lemon
Lemon
fan.
chip.
Yeah, that's
But actually, I think they got the taste down.
Yeah, I think I do definitely taste like the doughiness of the donut, but outside of that, it tastes like if someone sprayed lemon air freshener in there, and I got the taste in my mouth. So
Who would ever take air freshener and spray it around in a room?
Definitely not lemon air freshener.
We're all looking at Tony. So, go back to you, Isa. Go ahead.
Well, I'm actually pretty excited to partake in this qualifying round of competition that's being revived by Nintendo that happened back in the 90s. I don't know if you guys saw the movie The Wizard.
Oh, yeah.
With Fred Savage.
I love the Power Glove.
Yes.
Yes.
So bad. So, you remember, if you guys saw the movie, the whole point of the movie was that he was going to make this humongous trip to compete. His brother was going to compete for a competition by Nintendo called the Nintendo World Championships. And, it kind of died, and just recently, a couple of days ago, Nintendo announced that they're going to have Best Buy is going to partake in this, and they're going to have qualifying rounds where you can go to Best Buy, certain ones, obviously, and you're going to be able to compete and see if you can make it to the actual World Championship and play some Nintendo games. They haven't really announced what it's going to be exactly, but they just said it's going to happen. And I'm pretty interested in doing that, actually. I'm sure you probably want to do it, too.
Yeah, I'll do it just for the heck of it,
Yeah.
because it's video games.
So is this like classic Nintendo video games?
I'm
or
not
are
sure
they
yet,
playing new
though.
stuff?
Yeah, they haven't announced.
They haven't said anything yet, though, but they're going to actually live stream the actual event, the finals, online on June 14th.
Cool.
And there's some history to it, though, too, because I was looking up reading up here, and they had these cartridges back in the day, Nintendo 8-bit cartridges that went on sale on eBay, and they were like selling for $100,000. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah,
100
yeah.
grand?
Yeah, because they're the ones that they used for the tournament, and it was specific sections of the game.
Yeah,
And-
it's the candy bars.
What?
The 100 ring.
Oh.
So, and it would be about like maybe only 10 minutes
Really?
on that cartridge, and
Oh,
they're
wow.
going for that kind of money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Insane.
It's
Wow.
insane.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard, also in Nintendo news, is that they signed an agreement with Universal Studios, so there'll
Yeah.
be like Nintendo-themed areas in Universal Studios
That's
theme
awesome.
parks.
They'll probably be replacing the Marvel.
stuff is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
It's been one more Nintendo news here. They're finally gonna make Nintendo games for iPhones, for like smartphones, basically.
Oh, about time.
Yeah, they haven't announced what games are, but it's gonna be 5 of them. But they're gonna have some really cool, like maybe Animal Crossing or like some Mario games. That'll be cool.
Yeah, well, I think they're taking a big hit. I think the next gen, or the current gen systems, PS4 and Xbox One, since they're so much more advanced than all the big titles like Call of Duty and all that.
But that's not their market. Their market is,
Oh, I know.
is the Wii U.
But
And
yeah,
those are selling it into the younger kids.
Yeah, but
They're not marketing it to you.
right. But I'm saying
Okay.
that they've been losing a lot of money every year.
which is why they're gonna make another system, believe it or not,
Yeah, already there's going to be another new Nintendo
and it's gonna be
console.
more for adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tony,
All right, well, I'm actually going to first remind everybody that if there's any topics that you'd like us to discuss, you can tweet them to us at BeerBrosBS or send them to our Facebook page, Beer Bros NBS.
You can also email us, beerbrosbs@gmail.com.
Or send a carrier pigeon.
I prefer smoke signals.
Yeah. So we have a topic suggestion from Tony Espinoza. And he would like us to discuss adding Nick Cage to non-Nick Cage movies.
Ooh.
So I thought about that. I think...
Why?
It wouldn't only make it worse. Unless you get a really crappy movie and you put him in it, maybe it'd get like...
Two negatives make a positive.
It might get a little
Can you
better.
put Nick Cage in a Kangaroo Jack movie?
You'd love that, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would.
What if we put Nick Cage in the league?
You can only have one Andre.
Yeah.
What if it was Nick Cage versus the Kangaroo?
What if it was Nick Cage versus Andre?
He would be Andre.
Yeah, he would be.
Full on yeast mode.
in the league movie.
They should make a league movie.
Nice.
I actually seriously thought about it. And
Really?
so come on. Best Nick Cage movie, clearly Face Off.
Really? I like Raising Arizona.
Oh, The Rock.
Clearly it's Face Off.
Ghost Rider.
Is that clear if we're disagreeing?
You guys are just wrong.
You're wrong.
And Nick Cage, as we all know, master of overacting and bizarre twitchiness and, all that. So I think a good foil for him would be Keanu Reeves.
Ooh.
With his
Whoa.
and his poor acting. So I would think adding Nick Cage to Point Break instead of Swayze. Rest in peace.
Pour one out.
Yeah. I think that would have been interesting. Just having the two foils, which are so equally matched in their bad acting.
And plus, they were really young at that time, so I see
You're like,
that.
whoa, and then whoa!
Yeah.
That's my Nick Cage for you.
Okay.
Gotta find the Declaration of Independence. My hair's a bird.
Keanu Reeves did make a really good movie lately called John Wick, and they're making a remake.
Sequel?
Would it be, sequel, actually,
Yeah.
so sorry.
Would Nick
But
Cage be
Nick
good?
Cage?
John Wick
Nick
2?
Cage should be John Wick's dog.
It could be both.
It could be John Nick.
As far so a movie that he would fit into the realm of his shoddy
Any
terribleness.
movie that he's
He can be
not in that you
Guardian.
would like to see him in.
He'd be an Asgardian in the next Avengers.
There you go.
What about Star Wars?
No, don't not put Nick Cage in a Star Wars movie. Unless he's like the reincarnation of Jar Jar Binks and he dies.
But Jar Jar Binks hasn't died.
He's gonna die in this one, I think.
Well, actually,
Nick
they
Cage.
said J.J. Abrams has been talking about that. No?
Yeah, he's been talking about it.
You want to bring that up?
Is that something you were gonna talk about there, Jay?
Yeah. I'll
just
rant
bring
about
it
that
up.
later. No, I want to hear once Nick Cage movie actually.
Well, I would think it'd be interesting to see Nick Cage in the movie Dazed and Confused. Because, the cast of that movie is already... But the cast of that movie, is sort of the same generation as him, and you've got, Ben Affleck and Matthew McConaughey, and one of the London twins. I don't know if it was the Mallrats one or the other one. But anyway...
It was the other one.
It was the other one?
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares? But one of those guys, I think he would fit in right there with all those other dudes. And, I'd like to see what kind of one-liners he would have and if they could match up to McConaughey's level. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Interesting.
See, I'd like to see Nick Cage in not a movie, actually a TV series. The one that Jeremy Piven is in.
Oh, Entourage. Right?
No, the one on that's on PBS.
This is like Mr. Selfridge.
Yes, Mr. Selfridge.
Yeah.
I would love to see him like that. For those of you guys who don't know, imagine I'm an American entrepreneur. what time would you say that?
It's like the 20s or something.
Yeah, 1920s.
Yeah.
Or like a tycoon, an American tycoon, but in England. And the American tycoon is Jeremy Piven.
So would you want Nick Cage to play that character? Or
I want
just
him to
be
play his business partner from New York, from Staten Island, who comes over. And you get to see all the hijinks of Nick Cage in 1920s England.
And him just like foiling all of the Piv's plans?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Actually, you know what?
He'd be like, I have this great idea for a business venture. And Nick Cage would be like, are we going to steal the Declaration of Independence?
Are we going to see the Queen's desk?
Oh, God. Actually, that's a good idea. As far as the TV show, I would put him in Knight Rider.
Oh, Jesus.
Just because the show's so cheesy.
Would he be Kit's voice?
I want him to have the hair.
He could be Michael Knight.
I'd rather see him in the TV show with Hulk Hogan.
Thunder in Paradise.
Thunder in Paradise.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
He'd be the little sidekick.
Or he could be on Baywatch.
Can you imagine him running down the beach?
We're going this way, everyone, right? There's trouble this way. Is that where we're all running to?
Well, what about the dad in the TV show Alf?
You need Alf? You would like to just put him in Alf?
Alf.
He would be
Not
the dad. Not Alf itself. But yeah, anyway.
No, the dad.
Can I ask what's your reasoning for Alf?
He looks just like him. Hey, Willie!
Really? Where's Lucky?
He looks similar. He looks weird like that. He can fake it, but
I think it's just a hairline.
yeah, it's there.
Hey, Al. Where's Lucky? Oh.
Alright, so to carry on, my next thing I want to talk about today is I'd like to talk about the third highest grossing US box office actor by rank of total gross of how much money they've made. So what do you guys think? Who do you guys think is the actor who's currently made, he's been in movies for the third highest amount for the US?
Like he himself.
Number one.
He himself has made.
He's an actor that has been in the movie. Number one is Samuel Jackson. So that tells you the realm. This person is above. He's over Morgan Freeman, Tom Hanks, Gary Oldman, Harrison Ford, and Hugo Weaving.
So, but wait, is it how much money the actor has earned himself, or
How much the films
the
have
movies
grossed?
that he has appeared in?
Yes.
Okay.
He has grossed $5 billion. The films he has been in has grossed
I think I know.
$5,152,627,439, which means each average film makes $214,692,810.
I'm going to say... Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead. What's your guess, JJ?
My guess is Harrison Ford.
I said he was above Harrison Ford.
Oh.
My guess is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
He's not even on the
Leonardo
top 10.
DiCaprio.
Nope, he's not in the top 10.
Knowing who's asking the question, I'm going to say Robert Downey Jr.
Nope,
Ah,
not in the top 10.
Will Smith?
This actor has appeared in the top 10. He's actually been in a number of 24 films. His name, you guys have some of you have actually met him. His name is Stan Lee.
Oh, shit.
I heard about that. We were talking about
he's
that
in
today.
every Marvel movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Mallrats.
Nice bar trivia there.
That's actually a really, really interesting fact.
So what number is he on the list?
He is number 3. He is, like I said, he is over Morgan Freeman, Tom Hanks, Gary Oldman, Harrison Ford, and Hugo Weaving.
Well, some birds aren't meant
So
to be
who's
caged.
There's I forgot who number 2 is.
Right.
I think number 5 is he was on Cheers. He's in all the Pixar movies.
Oh,
Kelsey Grammer?
No,
Whatever.
Oh, I know.
the postal.
John Ratzenberger.
Yep,
Yep, there you go.
Ratzenberger.
Really?
Yeah,
Was he in Jurassic Park? The guy who drove the Jeep?
Oh, no.
Isn't that Sam Neill?
Oh.
No.
but number 1 is Sam Jackson.
So who's number 2? Was it him? Ratzenberger?
No, I think I can look it up. Somebody else is number 2. So let me ask you guys, what's your favorite Stanley cameo? Now, let me tell you what I would love to see, or what would you like to see as Stanley's cameo? Personally, I'd love to see. I read this online. I cannot take credit for it. I'd love to see him like in the next Avengers film or the Thor film or whatever, he's there cleaning up, dusting around, and he gets to a coffee table and he lifts up Mjolnir, he dusts underneath it and he puts it back down and he keeps going. Well, everyone's talking, but he's in the background, and he sees Mjolnir, he dusts it off, puts it back down, and keeps going.
That'd be pretty amazing.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Beyond that, my favorite cameo would be him as Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
I loved that one. I actually really enjoyed his one in Age of Ultron. He actually had a couple lines. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
12 seconds.
Yeah, man.
12 seconds.
Spoilers.
Spoiler, Stanley
It
makes a
hasn't-
cameo.
It hasn't been out 3 weeks.
Yeah, we can't spoil it, brother.
Whatever. I didn't spoil anything. If you didn't know he was going to have a cameo in the movie, then you're not a Marvel fan.
He was not in X-Men First Class.
Well, that's because he didn't want to fly overseas, because he doesn't like flying. Trivia, Stan Lee does
More
not
Stanley
like...
trivia.
Stan Lee does not like flying in airplanes. He takes buses or trains or whatever. Or limos.
Favorite cameo.
Ooh, favorite cameo, I'll go with... I like the one, it was The Winter Soldier, I believe it was, where he goes into the museum
Where he's the guard.
Where he's the
Yes,
guard and he
that's
sees
right.
the...
Oh, I'm so fired.
Yeah, he's like, I'm so fired.
That was my favorite one.
Tony?
I liked him in Guardians of the Galaxy, where he was like a future playboy.
Oh, yeah, look at it.
Well, it's
Classic preview.
It's not really future. It's happening now.
Just in another galaxy.
Far, far away.
Space playboy, then.
Yes.
There you go.
I'd like to see, which would be neat, as you know, Lucas had put, was it episode 2 or episode 1 Star Wars, he had put E.T. aliens in the Senate scene.
Right, yeah.
So, what are the odds of now maybe seeing, in episode 7, you might see,
Outcast?
Like Klingons
Hey,
or something?
No. You might actually see Star-Lord's ship.
Like, didn't you say AT-aliens?
No.
Oh.
Hey, yeah.
Wow.
Get low. No.
I like the way you move.
No, but or in some Guardians of the Galaxy, or as you guys may know it here, Guardians of the Garks.
That's Issa, oops, I spilled it, Lopez.
And I was not drunk that day.
that was just normal.
That was me being normal.
But how cool would it be, and most likely to see Star-Lord's ship or, something happening going on here, you get to see.
The Milano take off or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be sweet.
So what about you, Dan? What's the thing I like to bring up?
Today I learned that 90% of the United States disco balls are made in Louisville, Kentucky.
Did you actually look that up, or did you just read that?
Today I learned that, and I just felt like sharing that. Another thing that I thought was pretty interesting that I learned today is that Alaska is the state which is farthest north, east, and west due to the fact that the Aleutian Islands cross the 180th degree meridian of longitude. So, to explain that without sounding like a total nerd...
Too late.
Yeah. Whatever. It makes sense. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. And I don't know, I thought that was cool. And apparently, to kind of do a revisit of something that we were just talking about, Nicolas Cage has apparently trademarked his own acting style, and he calls it nouveau shamanic. And he plans on one day writing a book about his method.
Wow.
That is the most Nick Cage thing that I could have ever thought.
Yeah. So, thank you, Reddit/TIL.
And congratulations, Tony Espinosa, you got bonus Nick Cage coverage.
I know he was looking forward to it.
Before we continue, we're actually on our third beer of the night. So that was brought to us by...
That would be me. So I brought the Stone Old Guardian Barley Wine, which is the current 2015 version. It is 11%. So very strong. It's got a nice amber color to it. So this comes from California. And you would be looking at... They put a little bit of hops in this one. It's got some nice dryness to it. And some barley wines, they try and hold it back a little bit. This one pulls no punches, and they like delivering a very strong taste to it, but still nice and balanced.
It is Stone.
Boom.
Our first barley wine on the show.
Yeah, here.
Thanks for that,
Cheers.
Yeah. Also our first Stone brewery, so thanks Stone Brewery.
We
Celebrating.
got our first beers tonight. We got Voodoo, we got Yeti, Great Divide Brewing.
For those of you who can't tell, Issa doesn't always listen to what we say. He said it was our first Stone brewing beer.
I'm saying, but there's a lot of first beers today.
Yeah,
Well, regardless.
that was our first Voodoo Donut.
I didn't understand.
Or our first Rogue beer that we've done.
So, in honor of it's still going on, American Craft Beer Week.
Yes.
This week.
This week, yes.
We're halfway through it.
A lot of great beer events.
Happy ACBW, guys.
Yep.
Cheers.
Share your ACBW hashtags, and also put hashtag BeerBrosBS behind it, and we'll retweet you if we like what you wrote.
Yeah, let us know what your favorite craft beer is.
Yeah.
Speaking about Craft Beer Week, I did go to Brew at the Zoo this past weekend, and I think
Can you explain what that is?
It's actually a beer festival that's held at the Miami Zoo. It's put on by Miami New Times. And usually they have some good acts, some musical acts. But this year they had Locos Peruanos. They're a pretty good local band. And they had a U2 cover band. That guy looks just like Bono, actually.
So you look like a tool.
Yeah.
I guess it's more important if it sounds like him, though, right?
You too, not Tool.
Pretty good. But it was actually a disappointing event, though. Just a lot of craft companies were there. That you have Funky Buddha, you have Wakefield, Funky Buddha. It was there, and but the beer selection as far as the corporate beers that you always see there, wasn't great either. It was a kind of a meh, beer event. So I might not go next year.
That's alright. Well, anything celebrating craft beer to me is a plus.
Yes. But
anything that spreads the
we are
word.
looking forward to May 16, right?
And so you guys know, back to what I had said, Frank Welker comes in at number 2. Robert Downey Jr. is actually the 17th highest grossing actor.
Just under Warwick Davis. Wow.
Well, I mean, he's the go-to little guy.
Yeah.
If you think of all the, anytime that you saw a short character in any film.
Yeah, he's in all the Star Wars movies and all the Harry Potter movies.
That's true.
Right there, alone.
Yeah.
And that's not counting him being the leprechaun.
Leprechaun. What's
Yeah,
Willow.
But just for some context, underneath Robert Downey Jr. is Robin Williams, and just underneath him is Bruce Willis.
Wow, I'm surprised that Hugo Weaving is so high.
Lord of the Rings and the Matrix.
Yeah, but still, really above all these other people.
Yeah, so you might get
33 films though.
Yeah, my other guess was going to be Bruce Willis when we were talking about that.
Yeah.
But Work Davis with 21, but he's at number
Banks
16.
Is pretty high too.
But then you go ahead and look at Stan Lee with 24 films.
Wow.
Frank Welker's 107 movies.
Sam Jackson, he's been in every film ever.
107 movies.
Yeah.
Shock ate me!
Snakes on the plane.
So, what's your next topic you want to bring up?
Okay, that's it. Almost got previously spoiled. I'm going to be talking about the recent, leak of sorts of George Lucas's concept for Episode 7 that he turned into Disney and they rejected.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I'm worried.
Yeah, as you should be. So it's a good thing it's in J.J. Abrams' hands because there's not a full list of everything, but basically in the recent Vanity Fair, which shows lots of behind-the-scenes photo, they talk a little bit about it, and the basic idea was very Phantom Menace. So the idea would be very young kids, and so like 9 or 13-year-olds. And I did
9 or 13. What the hell is that, dude? That's a big difference.
No. I'm saying because they're comparing to Anakin when he was in Phantom Menace, he was 9, and the Queen Amidala was supposed to be 13.
Yeah. Okay.
So 11-year-olds, get out.
Yeah. So he wanted it to be the same thing and have another buddy character like Jar Jar Binks to be next to him. Yeah, exactly.
So you guys like the Wookiee who couldn't speak, but Jar Jar...
Yeah, he's in a like. So anyway, so it's pretty funny. J.J. Abrams goes on to say that George Lucas actually read the entire script that he is obviously presenting that we're gonna all get to see, and he said George Lucas was blown away. He said there's tons of surprises, and the good thing is that he said there won't be a lot of fan service as far as, hey, wink wink, remember this? He just wants it to be its own thing and carry on the new legacy, which it should be. So, but to go back to that Jar Jar Binks thing that Dave almost talked about, was the most recent trailer that they showed where the big pan on the new planet that looks like Tatooine. I can't think of the Jakku is the new planet.
Bless you.
Thank you. And the idea was it was going to show Jar Jar's skeleton, that he was dead and on this particular planet for some reason, and they were going to show his skeletal system, and they decided against that. So I found that to be interesting. So, are you all happy that George Lucas, even though he is, brought us one of the greatest universes of all time, are you happy that he is not doing Episode 7?
Yes.
No.
Why? Why, Dave?
Because his series of work before that. Indiana Jones, great films. I love the last one that came out.
Oh, you like Part 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other previous 6 Star Wars films were solid. Why mess with the recipe?
Okay. Yeah. Do you think J.J. Abrams is going to do a good job though?
If he keeps under 5 lens flares,
I doubt it.
I mean, I won't go blind. I have sensitive eyes,
You may not want to watch it in 3D.
Yeah, I'll have to wear my sunglasses to see it.
I already have to wear glasses as it is, so I fear for my eye health, my ocular health.
Oh, very good. Yeah, thanks. So,
for me, without trying to say anything bad about George Lucas, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and
oh fuck.
He's done. He's ran out of good ideas.
Yeah, and I still think the prequels are good, just not amazing like the original trilogy is. I think I might have been okay if George Lucas came up with the story, but someone else wrote the script and someone else directed. I think that could have turned out just fine. The original trilogy, he had other people direct.
Right.
But he directed all of the prequels, and I think a lot of the shortcomings are due to that. Nobody could disagree with George Lucas, even if he's not making the best choices.
But you're fine with the long coming then.
The what?
Instead of the shortcoming, you're okay with the long coming.
I'm all about the long coming. But I do think J.J. Abrams will do well.
That's cool.
I'm very excited.
Rock on.
So yeah.
What was your second topic you wanted to bring up?
I wanted to talk about the Deflategate quote unquote scandal that happened. So just in case you don't know, the Patriots, the New England Patriots, were punished by the NFL. They lost a couple of draft picks, and Tom Brady is suspended for the first 4 games for. They found out that they under-pressurized the footballs.
No, they said it was highly likely that the Patriots were aware of that.
Yeah, that they were.
They didn't catch him, and Brady can still appeal the decision.
Yeah, they said it was more probable than not.
That's what they said, but there was no, it's all circumstantial evidence, which is you can use that in court. There's no damning evidence.
Right, it's not a court of law here. Right.
His lawyer could have a field day with that, but he's yet to appeal it.
Yeah, so I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. Nobody hates the Patriots more than me.
Fins up.
But I think it's such a crybaby thing. People are like, oh my gosh, they let half of PSI out of the football. Outrage, scandal, shock. And it's only because they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it wasn't even for the Super Bowl game. It was for the beatdown they gave the Colts. Well, it was 41
45-7 was the score of that.
They could have won with a beach ball.
Right. If only, Andrew Luck had let out, half a PSI from the football, he would have scored 45 points. I mean, that's garbage logic. And the other thing is, ESPN Sports Science did a whole thing about it, and they determined that it doesn't give you an advantage to letting out any air pressure. The ball actually flies slightly slower when you do that, so the defense could react
Intercept
quicker.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
and it's like one fingertip length of an advantage that the defense would get out of it. So I think it's just total nonsense. What about you guys? Do you think they deserve the punishment?
I personally think that the punishment is more for them lying about it than for what they actually did.
Right.
And I agree with it completely. Screw the Patriots. They've always been lying. They've always been lying, cheating scumbags. And, whether or not it makes a difference according to sports science, it made a difference according to the way it felt in Tom Brady's hand, and that's the way he wanted it to be, because he felt like he would do a better job with it that way. And I think that it was, I think the punishment was more about the fact that they lied about it than that they actually did it.
And being repeat offenders.
Yeah, this is not a punishment for this incident. This is a punishment that goes down the list of their video recording.
Spygate.
Spygate.
Yeah.
This is for their list of
I mean, they have a reputation.
It's a
transgressions.
thing.
This is look, we're going after you now.
Yeah, enough is enough.
Yeah. But at the same time, you didn't include the $1 million fine that he fined the Patriots. So ultimately, that goes to Bob Kraft. But who does Fidel Goodell report to? He reports to the owners.
Yeah.
So imagine that you have your bosses. You actually have 32 bosses, and you report to them. And when they do something wrong, usually you punish their employees. But under this screwed up hierarchy tree of who's in charge of who, you actually fine your bosses. You can punish them as well. And he's done that to the Colts owner after they found a few $100,000 of cash and lots of prescription pills and excess in his car once he was pulled over and arrested. But then to fine him $1 million after he just got out of this scandal with Ray Rice and what's his name? From the Vikings.
Oh, Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. After he get out those two domestic abuse incidents, then you go to something like this. It could be his beginning of the end for him.
Yeah,
I hope Goodell's out.
He's going over people he works for. He's going after the players, and the reason they were actually fined, by the NFL was for detriment to the league's image.
That's what it's about, really. Everyone hates the Patriots.
Well, it's to the standard of the league. And do you look at the league and say they have a high standard?
I just kind of feel like if this was the Jacksonville Jaguars that did it, no one would care, so nothing would have happened. It's a PR kind of thing. I feel.
Yeah, but also screw Tom Brady. He sucks balls.
and still, if there's any New England listeners, we love you guys. So keep listening to us. We just. We're Dolphin fans. You understand.
Okay, so the final part of the show, whenever we're going to have a hodgepodge episode, we're going to have a little part that I like to call, what burns your bacon? For me, what really burns my bacon is it's just things when people talk about palindrome dates and things like that. How this week is,
yeah,
what's today?
The same date backwards and forwards.
Today's the 13th. Is May 13th. So you could write 5, 13, 15, and if you read it backwards, it would still be the same. No, it wouldn't. It would not be. This is 2015. This is not the year 15.
Yeah.
That was 2,000 years ago.
Yeah. Also, we're writing the dates wrong. It should be day, month, year, not month, day, year.
Yeah. Palindrome dates.
Yeah.
But America.
Yeah.
That's what burns my bacon. Dan, what burns your bacon?
Oh, man. Dude, I gotta think about it. That's a tough one. I would say, saying what burns my bacon rather than... come back to me. Go ahead.
What really burns my bacon? Speaking of pigs, all these videos are being posted on the internet. I just saw one of a cop beating down some guy. that guy deserved it.
Oh,
You know,
dude, what are you
I
talking
know
about?
we're going on a touchy subject though, but a lot of cops deserve it. A lot of people deserve it. But all these people are making such a big deal on these Baltimore riots and stuff like that, giving bad cops a bad name and all this stuff. So I don't want to see more videos of cops. Just stop it. You know, that's all.
Because it's like throwing more like fuel on the fire.
Yeah.
Really, we should be like not.
I just see a lot of it lately. Like it's all over the news. You know.
Okay. Tony, what burns your bacon?
But besides actual burnt bacon,
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
right? Bacon should be cooked perfectly, to perfection. Gosh, I could go all day.
Just one. Just give us one tonight.
One tonight.
Generally, for me, it's like the way people speak or type on Facebook. You know,
Please elaborate.
the way people like
Hello.
not like
Like
Balls.
putting the letter U and the letter
I
C.
know.
No, putting
like,
numbers instead of the
everybody
letter.
like they'll post a photo and say, "I didn't choose the thug life. The thug life chose me." No,
That awkward moment when
all these like no, the thug life did not choose you. You're taking a picture at Disney World with a mean mugging face. Like, come on, that or
I don't think I've seen any of those photos.
people saying posting whatever. The struggle is real. Hashtag the struggle. Like, really? Like, oh, Miami traffic. The struggle is real. I didn't make it to work on time. The struggle. Like,
Would it be okay if your car broke down and you have money to fix it? Would the struggle be real then?
no. The struggle is like if you live in Africa
box.
under a warlord
That's
and you're
the
like
only
a child.
struggle you could think of.
That's the first one that comes to mind.
It's a pretty good one.
Warlord, not-
Yeah, that I'll accept that. Anyway, that burns my bacon.
All right, JJ. What burns your bacon?
All right. What burns my bacon is
You never burn the bacon.
I never burn the bacon.
metal chef
The
knows what
metal
he's doing.
Yeah, the metal chef is an expert at bacon. I'm gonna say what burns my bacon. I'm gonna say the video game industry right now.
Ooh, I'm surprised.
Yeah, exactly. As much as I love it, there's an evil dark side that's really starting to take over, and we all know those three nasty letters: DLC. Yeah. Tony is giving his grunts of disapproval.
Batman.
Yeah,
We'll start with the Batman.
yeah. I'm
Talk
gonna
about
talk about the Batman. So,
Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
It's fine for, obviously, games cost way more money to produce nowadays. You've got a lot more employees, and there's more cost to it to make a big AAA game. But it's gotten to the point where it seems like they've already planned out, we're going to make this DLC, and now we're going to charge more than half the cost of the game before the game is even out. I find that practice kind of unacceptable, because and I'm one to support DLC sometimes because it extends the life of a game. But when you're doing it to the point where they're getting to, like with this Batman game, when's it going to stop? When's the DLC going to be announced for the next one? And it's going to cost more than the game itself.
Yeah, the companies wish they could charge $100 for the game right out of the box.
Of course.
But no one would accept that, so they charge $60 for the game at release, and then $40 for like the rest of the game.
Yeah, like
It's almost like if you would play the story and it would cut off like before the last page of the book or something.
Yeah.
And then, hey, do you want to see what's really going to happen? Pay us twice as much as you just did.
And there was 2 games that did that this past year, and they got shot down dirty cell because there was no ending, and they were like, download the DLC ending to the game. I was like,
That's
are
fucking
you kidding me?
What games were these?
One was the Resident Evil, the last one that came out. Not 5, but there was like a subsidiary one. I forgot the name of it. But regardless, there was 2 games where they cut out the story, and they were charging people for it afterwards.
Well, I mean, look at Bungie and Halo, the anniversary, the Master Collection. The multiplayer is broken still. They kind of patched it up, but it still doesn't really work.
No.
Then they want to pay. They want to make pre-orders for Halo 5. I don't want to put money down for that.
Well, that's a different company.
Well, still, I mean, okay, you got me there. Well, for me, not a bunch of us making it.
Yeah, and that's what burns my bacon.
For me, it's P.T. Barnum, like he said. You know, there's a sucker born every minute. You kind of have to be a little bit of a sucker to fall for these things. So.
Oh, of course.
And
Yeah.
if you are, then you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, people have to speak with their wallets. If there's something you don't like
Right.
nowadays, that's what you got to do.
Right.
People.
That's not actually what he said, is it?
I don't know. It's just a saying, and I like to use that.
I feel like it was a misattributed quote, though.
There's another one that burns your bacon, Dan.
Yeah, you know what really burns my bacon is when people go around and they're like,
P.T.
Luke,
Barnum.
I am your father. They never freaking said that. It's no, I am your father. And another thing that grinds my gears / burns my bacon / scratches my balls is the way that some people speak, where they say when they don't know when a letter is supposed to be silent or not, and they say like almond or salmon or like, you know, stupid crap like that. Like, dude, I get it if like English is not your first language. We're in Miami. It's, you know, a cultural diverse place.
What if it's acceptable?
What? Huh? Okay. Oh, I see what you did there.
What about
this?
Unresponsible.
Yeah, okay. What if it's like a
Yes,
country accent?
that's what we'll say
Like
earlier.
Jim Ross, he says the roof instead of the roof.
Oh, that's so annoying. I'm gonna get on the roof and I'm gonna write you a letter with my pen. Like, shut up.
Go in the room.
You could say any freaking
No,
sound
there's
that
some
you want.
people that
There's
just
no way
can't
that you
see
cannot
certain
make
My
a sound.
mom can't say wrestling. She says wrestling.
Wrestling.
But if she can physically make the sound wrestling. Like, there's, you know.
I tried.
So you would hate to live in like Boston.
Yeah.
Like, you would not be able to pocket cop. Would that drive you crazy?
Yeah, because of
It
Patriots.
would, man. It
What if
would.
someone said that you're a cop?
Would you like to go to the bar?
Not a co-op, you're a co-op.
You're
No, I'm not a cop. Are you a cop?
You're a fucking cop.
You a clock.
Yeah, you know
You're
what?
laughing now. You don't look upset to me.
You
Maybe
know
it
what,
doesn't
man?
burn your bacon, grind your gears, or scratch your
No,
balls.
the one that really gets me is when they say like salmon or like almond or like they
You
say
can't even
shit.
say it, dude.
Because I say it
He's
correctly
saying it right.
and I have to, you
No,
know.
it's not like
It sounded foreign to you, didn't it? There.
yeah, it sounded weird.
And that's what burns Dan's
That's
bacon.
what burned dance. Can I do one more?
Well, hold on. Before you get to your last one, I'd actually like to mention that we're on our final beer of the
Oh,
night.
yes.
You guys can't tell. Tonight we're having
A Great Divide Espresso Oak Aged Yeti. It's a stout aged on oak chips with coffee added. It's a 9.5 ABV. It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it's fantastic. To me, this is my favorite variation of the Yeti.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Wow, it's you know it's a pretty good, interesting. It's the suggested food pairings for this are chorizo breakfast burritos.
Okay.
Oh, let's have some of that right now.
Okay,
Coffee with your breakfast.
yes.
All right, Tony. You're the last one of the night.
I was just gonna say, also burning my bacon is people saying that their children are their mini me. Ugh, like enough with that. Like, you know,
What if it is their mini me?
it's not. Mini me is a character from Austin Powers, and it's a midget who shaved his head to look like Dr. Evil.
He's a little person.
I'm sorry, all little people out there. But, you know, because people are like, oh, my little kid is my mini-me because it did something I do. You know, it's just, you know, it's not
If you
funny.
wanted to
It's
have
not funny anymore.
If you wanted to have a kid, they would be born without hair, most likely, and they would be a mini you.
They usually do have hair when they're born.
But yours probably wouldn't, though.
Probably not.
But he would still be born with a goatee.
With it coming out with a bottle of crap beer.
If that happens,
A
then
sour.
yes, hashtag mini-me.
Yeah, so what if that was? Hashtag, you know, and then you holding the baby, hashtag the struggle was real.
Well, I think whoever gave birth to your child would be in a bad way if the baby came out with a bottle of beer.
That would mean the struggle was real with them.
Struggle was real with her.
She probably struggled.
The thug life chose them. If, you know, that,
Oh, God.
See? It just burns my bacon.
It burns his bacon.
So I'd have to say, you know, ask you guys then, what is your favorite beer of the episode?
I personally prefer this espresso Yeti. Really good stuff.
Very good beer.
I went with the Old Guardian, I have to say.
That was my second favorite.
Shockingly, I went with the dry hopped sour, the funky gold Amarillo from Prairie.
Oh,
Tony on with his beer again.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Espresso Yeti with a close second to the Old Guardian.
Sounds like three yeses for the Yeti.
So remember, guys, if you guys, any of you out there, gals, have any comments or questions, remember you can always send them to us on Facebook, facebook.com/BeerBrosBS. Send it to us on Twitter @BeerBrosBS. Instagram, you always look for our pictures there, @BeerBrosBS. You can email them to us, beerbrosbs@gmail.com. You can always visit our website, beerbrosbs.com. And remember, you can find our episodes on SoundCloud. And again, we are on iTunes.
Yay.
iTunes podcast.
Right.
So,
Subscribe to us, please.
yeah, subscribe to our podcast.
And, give us a good rating and good review if you feel so inclined.
And so, signing off, I'm Dave, the Big Librarian. You can also find me contributing at toughgnarl.com.
I am Dan, at Dan12Con on basically any form of social media.
I'm Isa.
Tony?
JJ the Metal Chef.
All right, good night, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.